Hello, this is your friend Dr. Jimmy again. This is not going to be a continuation of Halloween Horror Nights history for 2008. I hope we'll be able to continue that in the near future, but rather this is to address a rumor that's been going around the past couple of days that's been causing quite a lot of concern with a lot of people about what may or may not happen at Halloween Horror Nights 22. A few days ago, I think it was, or last week, or sometime recently, a fellow named Jared Crow, whose reputation has been tarnished by things I don't want to go into, but nevertheless, he's not always the most reliable person in the world, posted a rumor on one of his websites. They come and go, I don't know what's the current one, but posted a rumor on his website basically saying that the Hercules Xena building, aka Soundstage 44, would not actually be used for a haunted house this year, even though there has been a permit filed for it. He theorized that somehow they're going to use Soundstage 23 instead, and because that has been used for 2 different houses in the past, that means we may actually get 8 houses after all at the event this year. Let me just say that as far as I know, based on everything that I have gathered, not to tread too lightly there, but there will only be 7 houses this year, not 8. No permits have been filed for Soundstage 23, and there's no permits for anything more than 7 houses. So let me put that out. But this rumor has gained a lot of strength recently because a new permit has been pulled. A permit is a demolition permit for that building, Soundstage 44, the Hercules Xena building as it's sometimes called. And so people are getting quite concerned about that because they think the building's going to be torn down. The wall that's currently up and the construction going behind that wall, whereas people have seen large holes being dug in the pavement by a large tractor, indicate they're getting ready to tear it down right away. Some have speculated that this is being done by creative rather than other parts of, and therefore, not speculating, no creatives behind this, and therefore there's a new attraction being put in the very near future. Some have speculated that it's going to be a new Transformers ride, which had been speculated to come to Orlando quite a long time ago. Steven Spielberg even suggested that it would be in by last year. It didn't. People wonder when that Transformers attraction is coming to Orlando, if it's coming to Orlando, and think maybe this is the spot it's going to be. One of my friends has rather flippantly suggested Jaws 3D, the ride, which would be quite awesome if they did that, but of course, Jaws 3D was a terrible movie, especially since it takes place at SeaWorld. I don't think they could directly adapt it without being in as some sort of a partnership between Universal and SeaWorld. It would be hysterically funny, I think, but not going to happen as far as I know. It'll feature bigger Jaws. Then Jaws and the humans have to join together because they have a common enemy. To steal a joke from Seth MacFarlane. Okay, bigger Jaws. Yeah. All right, where was I? Yes. Be that as it may, the current permit for a haunted house to be built in that location, which contains, among other things, a scene called the Creature Pit and a scene called the Spike Room, whatever those are, is still active. It hasn't been pulled, and no new permit has been filed for a haunted house anywhere else. So, as far as we know, it will still be used for a haunted house. And if it is to be torn down, it may not be torn down until after the fact. A friend of mine, whose husband is in the construction industry, was told by him that that's what it sounds like to him. The building will be torn down sometime after the event, September. This is not unusual, by the way. There are current demolition permits that have existed for months and months for existing structures at Islands of Adventure. The psychic tents and the frozen desert, or dessert, whatever it's called, structures in the Lost Continent have been marked for demolition for many, many months, and those buildings are still standing right where they are and being used in the park as of now. So it could be a long time before the building is actually torn down, if it is to be torn down. I say if because I want to point out something which I think people are overlooking. The permit says a single-story structure. The single-story structure, that doesn't sound to me like Soundstage 44. It's a very large building. I don't think it's a single-story structure. Some have speculated that the little structure off of Soundstage 44, where they do the Shrek donkey show, donkey show. No, yeah, Universal has a donkey show. No, sorry about that. Just my evil mind going down the gutter where it tends to float a lot. No, we all float in here. No, might be torn down. That might be what the permit's for, except that they just bought a whole bunch of new donkeys for the show, and it's not likely that's going to happen either. And besides, that building has another name. It's stage 56 or 54 or something like that. But a single-story structure described in the permit could just as easily be the Q area structure connected to Soundstage 44. You know, that outlying structure with a roof where the Q area is. That might be what is being torn down for whatever reasons. So that after Halloween Horror Nights, they're going to add something else there instead for a bigger attraction to be used there. Now, I've heard rumors for a very long time that this structure is going to be used for an attraction. And I believe that will happen eventually. But I strongly suspect that it will still be the location of one of the haunted houses this year. There was another point that I needed to make, and I'm trying to remember what the hell it was. Let's see, I mentioned that. I mentioned the other thing. I mentioned the donkey show. I mentioned the... oh yes, the lights. They've also recently spent an awful lot of money to renovate the exterior, to repaint it and make it all pretty, and also go ahead and put lights up on top of the building. Those lights are used for the cinematic spectacular show, I think, that they have in the lagoon or wherever it is. But why would they go to the trouble of spending all that money to go ahead and put new lighting up on top of the building if they're going to tear the building down right afterwards? That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I don't think it makes sense to anyone. Now, Universal, above all, is a business. It's about the making of money. They're not going to throw good money after bad. They're not going to spend money to make a renovation and turn around and tear it down before that renovation can even be used. Especially if they intend to have those lights up there for the show for some time. You know, someone's going to get fired at Universal if that's the case for spending money foolishly. That's just bottom line, and I don't think that's going to happen. My belief then, based on all of the evidence that I can acquire, is that Soundstage 44 will actually be used this year for a haunted house at Universal Studios Florida. And it may or may not be torn down sometime after that, maybe not for months after that, for the purposes of building a new attraction. When or how that's going to be or what the new attraction will be all remains to be seen. But we'll have to wait and see, and hopefully I'm correct, because if I'm not, then we may only have 6 houses. That's the chilling thing about this rumor, because if the rumor is right and that place gets torn down, then there may only be 6 houses, because nobody has filed a permit for an alternative location of the house, and they have to file that permit before they can begin construction. Now, somebody also pointed out that Scary Tale 3 back in 2008 was originally going to be in the Curious George area, and they filed that permit and didn't pull it until September. Now that's true, but they filed the permit for the parade building long before they built the house there in the parade building. So clearly they would not, you know, so yeah, they might file a permit for Herc Xena and they decide to have it somewhere else, but they still have to file that permit before they begin construction on the house. They've already begun construction on all the other houses, and no permit can be found whatsoever for another location besides Hercules Xena. Okay, so unless another permit pops up really right away, like today or tomorrow, with an alternative location for that house, then we're not going to have, you know, we're not going to have 7 houses this year if the Hercules Xena building is torn down. Now, they've already gone down to 7 houses. Will they go down to 6 houses? I think not. I really don't think they would go that far, regardless of everything else that's going on. That's my 3 cents about this, and I hope you understand where I'm coming from. And I want to, hopefully I have relieved some of your fears about what's going on. And otherwise, and I hope I haven't scared anybody with the terrible notion that there may only be 6 houses, because I don't think that's going to happen. Alrighty, next time I'll probably continue Halloween Horror Nights history for 2008. Maybe tomorrow, maybe day after tomorrow, but we'll see. Until then, enjoy the rest of your lifetime.